Hello everyone. Welcome to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. If you enjoy long, clean, text-to-speech friendly deep dives, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the join button to support more stories like this. Today we're focusing on a name that has carried both grace and grit across every stage of her career, Hazal Kaya. The starting point is simple, a short trip to Paris with her close friend Enis Arıkan. But what followed was a wave of speculation about timing, family, friendship, work, and what the silence between posts can mean when millions of people are watching. Let's build the full picture before we attempt any conclusions. After becoming a mother, Hazal Kaya intentionally stepped back from the non-stop production cycle that keeps so many actors moving from set to set without a pause. She gave her attention to the kind of tasks that never trend but matter most. Learning a new routine, building small rituals, giving shape to a life that would outlast the glow of a premiere night. In interviews, she emphasized balance rather than sacrifice. She did not vanish, she reprioritized. Followers still saw her, but in different contexts: book recommendations, calls for donations, behind-the-scenes snaps with friends, and the dry humor that has always been her second signature after those expressive eyes. When she returned to work, the screen remembered. Casting teams did not hesitate, neither did the audience. People who first met her through the electricity she created opposite Kagate Yulasoy or the cool, calibrated chemistry she shared with Kıvanç Tatlıtuğ were ready to meet the next version of her. It is one thing to be excellent early, it is another to be excellent again after life has done some rearranging. That second kind of excellence is rarer, and fans recognized it. In the middle of this renewed momentum came the news that she is expecting her second baby. The response was immediate and generous. What was striking was how quickly the conversation returned to her agency. Supporters did not speak as if a career had to pause indefinitely, they spoke as if choices could be designed to fit the person rather than the pattern. The message, stated and implied, was clear: this is a season where roles must match energy, and schedules must respect health. If that means fewer public appearances in exchange for steadier days, so be it. Enter Paris. On a quiet morning, Enis Arıkan posted a set of stories that looked almost accidental: croissants that flaked properly, a window with ironwork, a tilted glimpse of a street where light seemed to take its time. Hours later, a photo of Hazal appeared: simple coat, hair pulled back in a way that signaled comfort over spectacle, a smile that belonged to the person behind the public figure. The caption avoided drama. No declarations, no hidden barbs, no overt address to the crowd. Just a hint that this was not a random getaway. There were meetings. There was a script on the table, not necessarily for a long shoot, but for a limited commitment that could be executed carefully. And there was talk of a charitable collaboration, a small capsule project whose proceeds would flow toward an organization Hazal has amplified repeatedly on her platforms. That should have been enough to frame the trip as exactly what it appeared to be. A brief professional and personal reset with a trusted friend. But in the space fame occupies, context rarely travels as fast as speculation. The comment sections filled with questions about why the trip looked like a duo, why her husband had not appeared in any frame, whether absence meant consent or conflict. One rumor took root with particular stubbornness, that a jealous partner had insisted on distance, or had somehow allowed the trip while keeping a close eye on it. The rumor did what rumors do: it replaced the ordinary with the cinematic. Let's slow that down. The narrative built around jealousy has the rhythm of a series, not the rhythm of life. Close friends describe a completely different picture: a short, planned break that lined up with medical appointments already on the calendar, the kind of appointments expectant mothers keep without broadcasting. They describe a couple coordinating childcare, not competing for public ground. They describe a professional friendship between Hazal and Enis that predates this year's headlines and will outlast them. Enis is not a new character in Hazal's story, he is part of the furniture, the kind that holds a room together without drawing attention to itself. Meanwhile, Paris provided exactly what the trip needed to provide: space to think. Hazal and Enis walked, talked, and did the kind of work that looks like leisure until you sit down to write. They met with a small creative team. notes were taken. A test shoot came together in a studio where the walls kept every secret. A stylist introduced textures that fit a changing body without making that the headline. A director pitched a short scene that would live online, not as bait, but as a gift to fans who love craft even more than scandal. Because Enis is Enis, there was also laughter in the margins. Their dynamic, that blend of tenderness, honesty, and mischief, has always acted like a stage light, wrapping Hazal in warmth and making the room safe enough for real ideas to emerge. The online debate did not stop, of course. It branched. One cluster insisted the trip signaled a quiet separation. Another insisted it foreshadowed a major European co-production. A third decided the timing guaranteed a cameo from one of Hazal's most famous scene partners, yes, those names again, Kagate Yulasoy and Kavanch Tatlatug, as if a city could summon people like a plot twist. The truth sits in a smaller, steadier place. This was a trip to protect momentum without sacrificing health. A trip to plan smart work rather than accumulate loud appearances. A trip with a friend who understands the exact mix of joking and honesty Hazal needs to keep the engine running. What about the social media silence around her spouse? Silence is not a subplot, sometimes it is simply privacy functioning correctly. Not every marriage wants to narrate itself in squares. If anything, the absence of performative togetherness can be a sign of the kind of security that does not need constant proof. The few details that filtered through, check-ins with family, childcare coordination, a shared spreadsheet that would make any production manager proud, tell us that adulthood, not drama, ran the itinerary. There is another dimension worth naming, the philanthropic line that runs through Hazal's online presence. During and after her first maternity break, she leveraged her audience to direct attention to real needs, animals, education, emergency support, community drives that needed a voice large enough to create a wave. People learned to expect two kinds of posts from her, the playful and the practical. Paris folded neatly into that pattern. Part of the plan, as sketched by people in the room, is a limited edition release tied to a campaign that will not borrow sympathy from motherhood but will borrow energy from it. The message is not "I am doing this because I am a mother." The message is "I am doing this because I can, and because it works." Let's address the work question directly, because it sits beneath every other layer. Will Hazal take on a full series while expecting? The current thinking points to measured steps, short-form commitments, special appearances, a streaming project calibrated for fewer, denser shoot days, and perhaps voice work that allows creative participation without the load of long nights on set. None of this exists to keep anyone guessing, it exists to keep her healthy and present for the people who matter most while remaining connected to the craft she loves. The timeline is not a mystery, it is a plan. By the time the plane left Charles de Gaulle, the public conversation had cooled from alarm to curiosity. Enis posted one last frame, nothing glamorous, just a window seat and a sentence about gratitude that sounded like him. Hazal's feed remained deliberate. No sudden carousel to prove or disprove anything. She has never treated her audience like a voting bloc that needs constant campaigning, she treats them like grown people who can handle a complete story when there is one to tell. So what actually happened in Paris? A friend invited a friend to think clearly, to work lightly, and to breathe. Meetings were held. A small project moved from idea to next step. A city did what cities do best when you arrive with purpose and leave with perspective. And the rest, the marriage speculation, the jealousy narrative, the imported drama, remains what it has always been, noise that fades as soon as the work is visible. If this deep dive helped you separate signal from noise, please like the video, subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, and ring the bell so you never miss our next long-form breakdown. In the comments, tell me what you expect from public figures during pregnancy. Should updates be regular and scheduled? Or should silence be accepted as part of responsible privacy? Keep it kind, we keep this space safe. To Hazal Kaya, may your timelines be gentle, your sets respectful, and your circles honest. To Enis Arıkan, keep bringing the laughter that lets good ideas breathe. And to everyone watching, remember that admiration without entitlement is the form of fandom that ages best. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and until next time, take care and goodbye.